Hello everyone, and welcome back. If you are preparing for your warehouse management final exam, you are in the right place. In this revision series, we're going to cover the 5 major topics that are most likely to appear in your examination. More importantly, I'll show you exactly how to answer the questions the way examiners expect. Here is an important reminder before we begin. In your examination, don't simply list 5 points. That will only earn you a few marks. Instead, for every point, explain what it is, how it works, and why it improves warehouse operations. That is how you score the full marks. Let's begin with our first topic, optimizing the movement of goods within a warehouse. Imagine a global online retailer called 15 Globalcart during major sales events. Customer orders triple almost overnight. Thousands of products are moving around the warehouse every hour. Robots transport shelves, employees pick products, trucks arrive continuously, and parcels leave every minute. Sounds exciting, right? But suddenly problems begin to appear. Workers spend too much time walking. Robots stop and wait because people block their paths. Certain aisles become overcrowded, while others are nearly empty. Goods arriving at receiving docks cannot move quickly enough into the warehouse. Deliveries become delayed and customer complaints increase. If you were the warehouse manager, how would you solve these problems? Let's look at the 5 key answers. Our first point is CVD optimizing material flow. Material flow simply refers to the journey products take through the warehouse from receiving to storage, to picking, packing, and finally shipping. Think of it like driving to college. If you keep making U-turns, taking unnecessary roads, or getting caught in traffic jams, you'll arrive much later. Warehouses work the same way. Goods should always move in one smooth direction, with as little backtracking as possible. A well-designed flow reduces congestion, shortens travel distance, lowers handling costs, and increases productivity. Whenever you explain this point in your exam, remember to mention that efficient material flow reduces delays while increasing throughput. The second point is fine zone picking. Rather than allowing every worker to travel throughout the entire warehouse, the warehouse is divided into different zones. Each employee or robot becomes responsible for only one assigned area. Imagine shopping in a supermarket. One employee stocks dairy products, another handles frozen foods, and another manages beverages. Nobody runs across the whole supermarket searching for products. Exactly the same principle applies inside a warehouse. Zone picking reduces travel distance, speeds up order fulfillment, improves picking accuracy, and allows workers to become specialists within their assigned zones. This is especially useful for warehouses handling thousands of different products every day. The third point is better coordination between automation and human workers. Modern warehouses are becoming smarter every year. Robots, conveyors, barcode scanners, artificial intelligence, and warehouse management systems all work together. However, technology only works well when everyone works together. Imagine if a robot arrives with products, but the employee responsible for picking isn't ready yet. The robot simply waits. Now imagine dozens of robots waiting. Productivity immediately drops. Likewise, if workers arrive before inventory has been delivered by automated systems, they also waste valuable time. The solution is real-time coordination. Artificial intelligence and warehouse management systems continuously monitor workloads and schedule tasks so that humans and automation operate together rather than separately. When explaining this in your examination, always connect it to reduced idle time, smoother operations, and higher productivity. Now, here is an exam tip. Many students simply write, "use robots." That answer is far too general. Instead, explain how technology improves coordination between automated systems and human workers. The examiner wants to see your understanding, not just buzzwords. Before we move to part 2, here is a quick memory trick. The first 3 points can be remembered as Theven flow, zone synchronize, *** flow the products, zone the workers, synchronize people with technology. If you remember those 3 ideas, you are already more than halfway towards answering this question confidently. In the next part, we'll continue with the remaining 2 points on improving warehouse movement, followed by a complete exam strategy showing you how to structure a high-scoring answer. If you have come this far, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. In the first part, we discussed 3 important ways to improve the movement of goods inside a warehouse. We talked about material flow, zone picking, and better coordination between people and technology. Now let us continue with the remaining 2 points. The fourth point is cross-docking. This is a concept that students often misunderstand. Cross-docking simply means that some products do not need to be stored in the warehouse. Instead, they are transferred directly from the receiving area to the shipping area. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine a truck arrives this morning carrying bottled drinking water. Another truck is scheduled to leave this afternoon to deliver those same products to customers. Instead of unloading everything into storage and then picking the products again later, The warehouse moves the pallets directly to the outbound loading area. This saves both time and labor. It also reduces the number of times workers have to handle the products. Think about it this way. Every time a product is moved, someone spends time and effort. If you can reduce unnecessary handling, you reduce costs and improve efficiency. This is why cross-docking is commonly used for fast-moving products. When answering this point in your examination, explain that cross-docking reduces storage time, reduces handling activities, speeds up delivery, and improves warehouse productivity. The fifth point is traffic management inside the warehouse. Many students focus only on storage racks and equipment. They forget that warehouses also have traffic. Workers walk from one location to another. Forklifts carry pallets. Automated vehicles move products. If everyone uses the same route at the same time, congestion will happen. Think about driving home during rush hour. The roads are the same, the vehicles are the same. The problem is simply too many people using the same route. Warehouses face exactly the same problem. A good warehouse manager plans traffic carefully. Some aisles may be used only for one direction. Busy picking areas may have wider aisles. High-demand products may be relocated closer to packing stations during peak seasons. Some warehouses even monitor traffic throughout the day and adjust routes whenever congestion occurs. The objective is simple: keep products moving, reduce waiting time, avoid bottlenecks, improve safety. When explaining this point in the examination, always mention that effective traffic management reduces congestion, improves operational efficiency, and creates a safer working environment. Now, ET-US put all 5 points together. The first point is material flow. The second point is zone picking. The third point is coordination between workers and technology. The fourth point is cross-docking. The fifth point is traffic management. Notice something interesting. Every one of these points has the same objective: reduce unnecessary movement. That is the main idea you should remember. Warehouse productivity is not about making employees work harder. It is about designing the warehouse so that employees do not have to waste time walking, waiting, or handling products more than necessary. Now let me give you an examination tip. Suppose the question asks you to explain 5 ways to improve the movement of goods. Do not spend 2 pages explaining only one point. Instead, organize your answer clearly. Start with the point, then explain what it means. Next, explain how it improves warehouse operations. Finally, connect it to productivity, cost reduction, customer satisfaction, or warehouse efficiency. This simple structure helps you answer every point completely. Before we finish this part, here's an easy way to remember all 5 points. Think of the word FZSCT. Flow, zone picking, synchronization, cross-docking, traffic management. You do not have to memorize long definitions. Just remember these 5 ideas, then explain each one in your own words. In the next part, we will move to another important examination topic. We will discuss how managers determine the right warehouse size and why building the biggest warehouse is not always the best decision. We have completed our first topic on improving the movement of goods inside the warehouse. Now let us move to another topic that frequently appears in warehouse management examinations. This is determining the right warehouse size. Many students think a bigger warehouse is always better. That is not true. A warehouse that is too small will become crowded and inefficient. A warehouse that is too large will increase operating costs because the company pays for space that it does not fully use. The goal is not to build the biggest warehouse. The goal is to build the right warehouse. Let us use a different example. Imagine a company called Fresh Choice Foods. It produces beverages, canned food, frozen products, and snacks. Sales continue to increase every year. Management is planning to build a new distribution center. The big question is this: how large should the warehouse be? To answer this question, managers need to consider 5 important factors. The first factor is demand forecasting. Demand forecasting means estimating how much customers are expected to buy in the future. This is the starting point for every warehouse planning decision. If sales are expected to increase, the warehouse must have enough space to store additional inventory. If demand is expected to remain stable, the company may not need a much larger warehouse. Managers must also think about seasonal demand. For example, food companies often experience higher sales before Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, and Christmas. If the warehouse is designed only for normal demand, it may become overcrowded during these busy periods. In your examination, explain that demand forecasting helps managers plan warehouse capacity so that they can meet customer demand without creating congestion or wasting space. The second factor is product characteristics and storage requirements. Not every product requires the same type of storage. Some products need cold rooms. Some products require dry storage. Some products are fragile. Others are hazardous. Some products are very large while others are very small. Because of these differences, warehouse space cannot simply be measured by floor area. Managers must also think about the storage conditions needed for each product. For example, frozen seafood requires refrigerated storage. Electronic products may need secure storage with temperature control. Large furniture requires wide aisles and higher storage racks. These different requirements directly affect warehouse size and layout. In your examination, always explain that different products require different storage conditions, and this influences both warehouse design and space allocation. The third factor is inventory turnover. Inventory turnover refers to how quickly products move into and out of the warehouse. Some products remain in storage for only 1 or 2 days. Other products may stay for several weeks or even months. Think about bottled mineral water. It usually sells quickly. The warehouse does not need to keep large amounts for a long time. Now think about spare parts for industrial machines. Demand may be much lower. Those products may remain in storage for a longer period. This means different products require different amounts of storage space. High turnover products need fast movement. Slow-moving products need longer storage. When answering the examination question, explain that inventory turnover helps managers determine whether the warehouse should focus on storage capacity or fast product movement. Here is an examination tip. Students often memorize the 5 factors but forget to explain why they matter. Always connect your explanation back to warehouse efficiency. Ask yourself one simple question after every point. How does this help the warehouse operate better? If you answer that question, your explanation becomes much stronger. Before we finish this part, let us review the first 3 factors. Number 1 is demand forecasting. Number 2 is product characteristics. Number 3 is inventory turnover. These 3 factors help managers understand how much space is needed and how that space should be used. In the next part, we will complete this topic by discussing automation, future expansion, and the best way to structure your answer so you can maximize your marks in the examination. In the previous part, we discussed the first 3 factors that influence warehouse size. They were demand forecasting, product characteristics, and inventory turnover. Now let us continue with the remaining 2 factors. The fourth factor is automation and technology requirements. Today, many warehouses use technology to improve efficiency. We can see automated storage and retrieval systems, automated conveyors, barcode scanners, robotics, and warehouse management systems. These technologies improve productivity, but they also affect the design of the warehouse. For example, an automated storage and retrieval system needs tall storage racks because products are stored vertically. This means the building must have enough height to support the equipment. Automated systems also require sufficient space for machinery to move safely and efficiently. If the warehouse is too small or the layout is poorly designed, the technology cannot operate effectively. In other words, buying advanced equipment is not enough. The warehouse must also be designed to support that equipment. When answering your examination, explain that automation influences both the size and layout of the warehouse because different technologies require different amounts of space and specific building designs. The 5th factor is future expansion and scalability. This is a very important point because businesses rarely stay the same. A company may have one warehouse today, but 5 years later it may serve twice as many customers. Imagine a beverage company that expands into new markets across Southeast Asia. As sales increase, more inventory will be needed. More trucks will arrive every day. More employees may also be required. If the warehouse was built only for today's demand, the company may have to spend millions building another warehouse or making expensive renovations. A good warehouse manager thinks ahead. The warehouse should have room for future growth. This does not mean building the biggest warehouse possible. It means designing a warehouse that can be expanded when the business grows. For example, extra land may be reserved beside the warehouse for future extensions. Additional loading bays can also be included in the long-term development plan. Planning ahead reduces future costs and avoids major disruptions to operations. When explaining this point in your examination, always mention that scalability allows the warehouse to support future business growth without requiring major structural changes. Now let us review all 5 factors together. The first factor is demand forecasting. The second is product characteristics. The third is inventory turnover. The fourth is automation and technology. The 5th is future expansion. Notice that these factors are connected. Managers first estimate future demand. Next, they study the products being stored. Then they consider how quickly inventory moves. After that, they decide what technology will be used. Finally, they make sure the warehouse can grow with the business. This is exactly how warehouse planning works in the real world. Now, let me give you an examination strategy. Suppose the question asks you to discuss 5 factors that determine warehouse size. Start each paragraph with the factor. For example, begin by writing, the first factor is demand forecasting. Next, explain what the factor means, then explain why it is important. Finally, connect it to warehouse performance. For example, you can say that accurate demand forecasting helps prevent overcrowding, improves space utilization, and supports efficient warehouse operations. Follow this same structure for every point. This makes your answer organized and easy for the examiner to follow. One mistake I often see is students giving only definitions. Remember this. The examiner is not only testing whether you know the term, the examiner wants to know whether you understand how the factor affects warehouse operations. Always explain the impact. Before we end this part, here is a simple way to remember the 5 factors. Think of this question: what should managers know before building a warehouse? They need to know future demand. They need to know the products. They need to know how quickly inventory moves. They need to know what technology will be used. They also need to think about future growth. If you remember those 5 ideas, you will be able to answer this question with confidence. In the next and final part of this revision series, we will cover 3 important topics together. We will discuss warehouse location analysis, effective warehouse layout, and warehouse productivity measurement. These topics are closely connected and are also popular examination questions. Now, final part of your exam revision series. So far, we have covered movement of goods and warehouse size. Now we are going to revise the remaining 3 topics together because they are closely related. These topics are warehouse location, warehouse layout, and warehouse productivity. Let us begin with warehouse location. Imagine a logistics company called Swift Logistics wants to build a new regional distribution center. The first question is not how big the warehouse should be. The first question is where should it be built? Choosing the wrong location can increase transportation costs, delay deliveries, and reduce customer satisfaction. When selecting a warehouse location, managers normally look at 2 levels. The first is the macro perspective. The macro perspective looks at the overall business environment. Managers consider factors such as economic stability, government policies, taxation, trade regulations, and the country's transport infrastructure. A stable economy gives businesses greater confidence to invest for the long term. Supportive government policies can also reduce operating costs and improve logistics efficiency. The second is the micro perspective. This focuses on the actual warehouse site. Managers look at the distance to highways, ports, rail connections, industrial land, utility services, and the availability of workers. For example, a warehouse located close to a major highway can deliver products faster than one located in a remote area with poor road access. Remember this simple idea. Macro factors help managers choose the right region. Micro factors help managers choose the right site. Now let us move to warehouse layout. Even if you choose the perfect location, poor layout design can still reduce productivity. A good warehouse layout allows products to move smoothly from receiving to storage, picking, packing, and shipping. The marking scheme highlights 5 important benefits of an effective warehouse layout. The first is better space utilization. A good layout makes full use of both floor space and vertical storage. This allows more products to be stored without expanding the building. The second benefit is reduced travel time. Fast-moving products should be placed closer to the picking area. This reduces walking distance and allows orders to be completed more quickly. The third benefit is improved workflow. Departments should be arranged in a logical sequence. Receiving should connect smoothly to storage. Storage should connect to picking. Picking should connect to packing. Packing should connect to shipping. This creates a continuous flow of work and reduces delays. The fourth benefit is improved safety and ergonomics. Wide aisles, clear walkways, and properly designed workstations reduce accidents and make work easier for employees. A safer workplace usually leads to higher productivity. The fifth benefit is higher picking accuracy. When products are organized properly, workers can find the correct items more quickly. This reduces mistakes, lowers product returns, and improves customer satisfaction. Now let us move to our final topic, warehouse productivity. Many students think productivity simply means working faster. That is only part of the answer. Warehouse productivity means measuring how efficiently resources are used to achieve operational goals. According to the marking scheme, there are 5 important areas. First, establish standardized key performance indicators. Every department should measure performance using the same objectives. Second, use real-time monitoring. Managers should identify problems immediately instead of waiting until the end of the shift. Third, analyze labor productivity. Measure both individual and team performance to identify training needs and improve workforce utilization. Fourth, standardize work processes. When employees follow the same procedures, performance becomes more consistent and easier to manage. Finally, integrate technology, warehouse management systems, barcode scanners, and automation improve coordination, provide accurate data, and support better decision-making. Before we finish, let me share one final examination tip. No matter which warehouse management question appears in your examination, always remember this simple structure. State the point. Explain the concept. Explain how it improves warehouse operations. Connect it to productivity, cost reduction, customer service, safety, or efficiency. If you consistently follow this structure, your answers will be organized, clear, and much easier for the examiner to award marks. I hope this revision series has helped you understand the key concepts rather than simply memorizing them. Study the ideas. Practice explaining them in your own words, and always relate your answers back to warehouse operations. Thank you for watching. I wish all of you the very best in your examination. Study smart, stay confident, and I hope to hear that every one of you has achieved an excellent result. Good luck.